Welcome back to the Midlife Grace Podcast. Well, I am thrilled to welcome our special guest on today. I truly love sharing this space with incredible voices who bring us these great and unique perspectives and wow, the value they bring. The support, the value, it's just incredible. So I cannot wait for you to meet our incredible guest today. She is someone who truly brings an amazing perspective and inspiration to us. She is a speaker, a coach. She's a best-selling author of Overcome the Healthy Overwhelm. Wow. She's lost over 70 pounds by making healthy simple. So for the past 14 years, she's empowered women to improve their health, their thoughts, their faith, so they can live with fulfillment, joy, and peace. Erin Moore, welcome to the show. I'm so thrilled to have you here today, Erin.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I was just telling Ginger behind the scenes, this is actually my first podcast since the book came out, but I had to tell you, I've just been so jacked up to come here on the show. I love what you have going on. I love what you're up to. I love your guests. I love all the things. So I'm especially excited to be here today.
Thank you so much. I am especially excited to have you here today and to hear all the greatness that you have brought. Man, you've done such a good thing, Erin. Such a good thing. And I know this book is going to help so many women. But first, I have to ask you, what brought you here? What's your story in all of it?
Oh my goodness, the story can take many different turns, right? But we'll go to the part where I'm overstressed, I'm overworked, and I find myself overweight.
Yes.
And I somehow blinked and became plus sizes. And let me
Mhm.
tell you, I wouldn't actually go into the plus sizes to go shopping because I was
Mhm.
just so shocked. So I did all the tricks like hold your pants together with rubber bands and hair
Yeah. Yeah, I
ties
remember that.
and
Like
wear,
button, wrap the
yeah,
rubber band around the
yeah.
button.
I was
Yeah.
just like, this can't be. I was so in shock. And then I just kept gaining and gaining. And I tried all the things. I dabbled in all the things, but I knew nothing really about nutrition. I was just
Mhm.
looking for a gimmick. I was looking and chasing the fads. And even when they actually worked, I actually quit some of them, even when I was losing pant sizes because the scale wasn't cooperating. And like now looking back, I have a whole chapter in the book talking about how the scale is a liar, just all
Oh,
the
yeah.
things that you learn about nutrition and body composition and all the things. But yeah, what happened was finally I had the line in the sand moment when we did a weight pool where I worked way back in the day, all those years ago, like 16 years ago, and I'm competitive. So when you put it in a game form, I was like, game on, let's go. And, I actually lost 28 pounds in my first 2 months and then went on to lose 44 pounds in 4 months total, and then on to lose over 70 pounds. And
That's incredible.
to make that happen, it had to be simple. And I had
Mhm.
to figure out the ways to get out of the gimmick cycle and into
Mhm.
the nutrition space and understand it and all the things. And so that's what ultimately began the journey of the weight process. And then the book came out of so many different areas, but that's a little bit of my story. Oh, and
Yeah.
add in mystery illnesses that the doctors couldn't figure out and all that fun stuff. I have had to change my way of eating so many different times. I am just like a pro of pros on how to stick
Uh-huh.
to changing up your plan and how to stick with it without it feeling like a chore or a punishment.
Yeah, because it can truly feel like a chore,
Oh yeah.
And I focus on the 3Ds. You got to go into this 3D. You got to be different, you got to be disciplined, and you got to be dedicated.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what it takes. It really
Yeah.
does.
But
Well,
with
that's
those 3Ds, sometimes we can
yeah,
feel really down and out too to add
yeah.
another D because you feel like there's a missing piece and component, but really it just comes with sticking with it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's all that mindset too. You got
Yeah.
you got to know that mindset. So
Yes.
And that scale is the devil. It will play tricks on you. It really
It will.
will. It
It's so
will.
funny that you say that because I actually call it the devil and
I do
say that
too.
it's a conniving little tool from the devil in the book because it's so true. It messes with our brain more than most other tactics.
It's a setup for failure, is what
Yes,
it is.
yes,
It will
yes.
set you up for failure.
Yeah,
So I'm so excited to hear more about Overcome the Healthy Overwhelm book.
yes.
And, so it's so needed in today's world, because we are so overwhelmed by so many different things in our life that sometimes we put our health last.
Yes.
And this is a great way, to come into it with a different aspect on how to get healthy. So, what inspired you to write the Overcome, the Healthy Overwhelm? What inspired you to write this? And how does it redefine what healthy can look like in this busy life?
Yeah. Well, first, I'm going to give credit to God because I had zero
Yeah.
interest in writing a book.
Amen.
He kept knocking on my door saying, write a book. And I was like, I think you have the wrong person. I
You know,
like
when
to
he
talk.
when he whispers to us, we better obey,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
We
Well, he
better
got pretty loud when I kept going, oh, maybe, yeah, someday, sure.
obey.
He was like, no, you're writing it and you're writing it now. And so, but yes, once I finally was obedient and sat down and to figure this out, it really came down to too many women are completely frozen in overwhelm,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to this health and wellness space, but really in everything. We are just
Yes.
in this crazy hustle culture and this keeping up with the Joneses and all of that. And we are just absolutely high stress. Our cortisol levels are through the roof, especially
Yep.
thank you this time of life, right? But then
Yes, for sure.
there's just so much noise. I mean, you've got one person over here saying never eat a banana again. You have another person over here saying eat 3 bananas a day. And all of this conflicting noise is what has people just sitting here almost like they're turning just back and forth instead of moving forward. And so I took my story and wove it through not only just health and wellness, but people can apply this to just life in general. I have people that are super healthy and don't have any weight to lose. And they're so thankful that they read this book because they
Right.
found so many helpful little tips and tricks. And
Mhm.
then to just understand the psychology and the mindset that goes into it. You
Yes.
talked about the thoughts. But so
Yes.
there's just so much noise. And so the hope and what I'm finding from people sharing what they're getting out of it already is that it's giving a boatload of grace and bringing it down and simplifying so that we really can just move forward instead of feeling like we're looking side to side, not knowing where to go.
Yeah. Yeah. In the Bible, it tells us your thoughts run your life.
Yeah.
So, that's scripture and you
Mhm.
got to be careful. But, in today's society, I don't, I see this quite often in the women that I help and that I work with also is they come in and they think that it's an all or a nothing game. It's
Yes.
all or nothing.
Yes.
And there's no balance there. All or nothing is not balanced. So,
No.
you know, even in a busy life, you can really, truly have a balanced life. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing game.
No.
That's how society has made us think.
Yes.
Either you go all in or you're not. And that's not true.
Right.
So, what are the common misconceptions about health that lead to this overwhelming feeling? And how can we shift our mindset to embrace it more and grace these feelings, this overwhelmed feeling?
Yeah. I think, well, you hit on it partly already is that we really feel like it's an all or nothing. Like on
Hmm.
Monday, I'm going to start eating differently. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do all these things. And as soon as you miss a gym day, you're like, oh, well, I'll go grab appetizers and drinks with a friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
As soon as you eat too many cookies, you're just like, forget
Mhm.
it. I already blew the day. I might as well eat more tonight or
Right.
whatever. So we really have this all or nothing mentality. And when I
Yes.
first got started, I finally just picked, I'm going to focus on the nutrition piece. and I left the physical fitness piece to the side for now. And so that, was one thing that I started to conquer it, to get over this all or nothing thing so that I wouldn't collapse the two. But also I feel like what is this misconception about health is that there's a perfect right or wrong. God mentions in the Bible, not God, but in the Bible, they mention food 1,200 times. And they're not mentioning it saying this is bad and this is good or giving it labels, but we give it labels. And then that spins us in this circle of, oh my gosh, I had pizza. That was a bad food for me to have, And so it's just these shifts of one, like I said, healthy dose of grace. One, that, okay, so you had a cookie or ate. So you had a cookie or
Find grace.
the end, move along. Sometimes I feel like people, if they don't collapse the two and they maybe quote unquote eat the bad food, then they're like, oh, well, I'll go work out more. And I like to say, you can't outwork a bad diet. Just give yourself grace. You ate it, carry on, do your regular workout if that's part of your plan, eat your regular dinner, just like you were going to, instead of throwing it all to the wolves,
Right.
But it comes down to food isn't good or bad. We aren't good or bad just because we chose to eat something that maybe we decided we wanted to forego. And even in the very first chapter, one of the favorite things that people are coming to me from the book is this concept of changing. I can't eat that. I'm on a diet. Oh, don't say that ever again. Just say, I don't eat that.
Yeah.
I don't eat that. And then all of a sudden your head raises and you're like, I like to say, take your superwoman pose, because you're giving yourself the power at that point to just say, I don't eat it. What happens when we say I can't?
I choose not to eat it, right?
When we say I can't, it's like telling a little kid, we're the same way. If you tell me I can't cross over that line, I at least want to put a little toe over the line. I did it.
Yeah.
So if we say I can't eat something, then our brain almost wants to trigger against it. So just say more empowering words like I don't.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And going back to, what you were saying about, oh, I'll just go to the gym and whatever. Well, there's an 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
20% of what you do counts for this weight loss. 80% is what you're eating. So you have to be very careful with what you are putting in your mouth. And it's an 80-20 rule, and keep that in the back of your mind, because when you are looking at food and you looking at something bad and you really want it, just remind yourself, 80-20 rule, 80-20 rule. Go take a walk. Stop thinking about the cookies. So
well, I love that you brought that up too. That's why when I decided not to collapse the two of changing the way I was eating and changing the way I was moving, and just give myself allowance to build in fitness when I felt like it was because 80% of our results come from the nutrition. So I was like, well, then I'm going to hone in on the 80%.
Yeah, because sticking to the 80% is going to get you more than going and take a quick walk, or, like getting on the treadmill because you ate a cookie.
Right.
You just have to focus on, this is the 80%.
Right.
This is 80%. And if you can't get the 20 in, which I don't recommend not getting it in, because what you do in that moment counts.
Yeah.
It really does.
Well, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Ginger, because I was going to say, I'm not putting fitness down or movement down. I personally never recommend it for weight loss. What I recommend it for, though, is it gets your endorphins going. It's amazing for your mental health. It's amazing for your heart health. It's amazing for your overall health. And when we get those things firing, we by default want to make better decisions about what goes into our mouth, So
for sure.
Yeah.
I like that. So, your ministry focuses on 3 core pillars. So health, thoughts, and faith. So tell us a little bit more about your ministry and what you're about with that.
Yeah. Well, so they're so interconnected and intertwined. And I found that my health and going about it and actually starting to get the small wins and the big wins, ultimately to be able to do that, there is a mindset shift. And sometimes when we're stuck, it's because we haven't had the mindset shift yet. Sometimes we're blessed to, when we just say, that's it, enough's enough, and we dig in and we really, I mean, really want to change. Because I dabbled in a lot of things before I made a true decision. And with that decision comes, I'm going to mess up sometimes, but I'm not throwing in the towel, right? But so that mindset just starts to transform and take over. When you make big changes for yourself, you can't help but start to think differently about yourself and the world. And when our thoughts elevate and physically and mentally, we're just feeling better. I find, because we can be really sick and really down in the dumps and turn to God. But I find when we're in our healthiest state, that's when we can have a very powerful momentum forward movement with a relationship with God, because we are just so open. We're so open and we feel good. So we're not coming at this relationship or are deepening our faith from a desperation anymore. We're coming from like, hey, I've got some umph. But they all go together too, because if we start with the faith, and we actually, here's something. Has anybody actually asked God for help with your health and with your thoughts? Because my almost 70-year-old mom, who lost 100 pounds 2 years ago, never until her late 60s ever even thought or dawned on her to ask God for help. And she struggled with her weight her entire life, really. But that's all I remember is my mom always struggling with her weight. And there at 67, 68, she learned how to pray for herself and to ask God to help her. But so all of those are just so intertwined. When we have a higher faith, we can have better thoughts. We can have a better attitude about our health and our wellness. When we have a better health or wellness, you know what I'm saying? They all go together.
Yeah, life is more fulfilling.
Yes.
Because it's balanced. It's balanced.
And we really can't.
Your mind and your faith are two components that work together to give you that fulfilling life. And God is at the forefront of it all. Yeah. Because without him, you can't have that fulfilling life. Yeah. So I'm glad that your mom saw it, sought out to call upon the Lord and ask him, I need help, Yeah. And I guess that's things we don't think about in the moment, So
it's just so cool, Ginger, before we move on, to see. I've seen her lose weight so many times. This time I know it's a forever. Like there isn't a doubt in my mind. I don't think there's a doubt in her mind. And every other time there was always a doubt. She was waiting for the other shoe to drop. She was waiting, but just we can't up level one area of life without like this vacuum effect of starting to up level other areas of life. So for many of us right now, we want to target our health. Especially your listeners. We want to feel better. We want to figure out this midlife thing. We want to get rid of the belly pooch. We got all that stuff. But if we really focus on that, it can't help but bring up all the other areas of life.
Exactly. And whenever you're going to scripture and you are going to him and asking for all these things, you are releasing so much trauma in your life, because that trauma is what suppresses us. And that's why your mom comes up and then she comes right back down, because she hasn't gave it to the Lord. She hadn't done all these things. So I see her winning right now. Oh, I see her beating this. I really do. By the way, thank you, Lord. Oh, yeah. So in the book, you talk about the guilt shame cycle that many, women face when they make the choices that don't align with their goals. So how can women break free from this crazy cycle and start making choices, for their to support their well-being?
Yeah. Well, goes right back to that grace, grace, grace.
Yes.
More grace and more grace. But before we even dive into that a little bit more, just to help everybody else listening, the guilt shame cycle, I'm sure you can kind of guess what that is, but it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. we have the cookies. So now we're like, well, then I'll go ahead and just sabotage somewhere else too. I'll skip my workout, or I'll go just mess around with dinner as well, but then because we made that choice, we then feel guilty about it. And then that guilty spirals us, unfortunately, into shame often. And I talk about that whole difference and all that. Shame is of the devil.
Yes.
And that is him knocking on the door. But so then we have this guilt or the shame, or what I like to call shilt. And that then spirals us into making poor decisions again. Whether that's now I'm upset that I messed it all up again, so I'm just going to eat ice cream and watch TV all night, or whether that's just, it doesn't have to be another food sabotage, but it usually is. We go drink too much wine. We're just mad at ourselves.
Yeah.
And then the cycle continues. And so again, grace and understanding, no matter how many times we say, this is it, I'm going to make it work. There's still going to be a day where lunch gets really screwed up and you just end up in a drive-through, or you skip a meal, or you have too much wine, right? There's going to be times where this is going to happen. And so if we don't learn how to just go, okay, that happened, but I'm still trudging forward instead of, oh, I can't do this. I always mess it up. Why can't I get my stuff together? And we just beat ourselves to a pulp. That is not helping us. And then we just start again the next Monday, or Mondays months from now, or whatever. And then we just stay on this cycle. So getting off that cycle is just so key. And that grace and understanding that you will never be perfect at it.
Yes.
Even the healthiest, cleanest, eating, flat abs people that I know mess it up. And so why do we think, coming from habits that aren't all about eating the perfect meals and in this routine of maybe making your own things or doing this or doing that, that we're just going to be able to instantly just, I made a decision and I'm good? No, we made a decision and now we're going to have tests. And part of that test is just staying off the guilt shame cycle.
Yeah, because it all it does is spiral you into a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So in the book, you share so many helpful ideas like oh crap stash, grab and go snacks, the rocks, pebbles, sand analogy. You talk about the meal map. What's one practical tip that you could share with us to help our listeners simplify, all these routines and, just make a little more space for themselves today?
Yeah. Well, I want to give two, not one. First is start fiving. I love to say that I termed it fiving. Basically, you're taking a pause. You're creating a pause in your day. And this is really hard, especially if you're a type A, go, go, go person like me. You're like, create a space. First of all, we feel like we don't have time. Second of all, we feel really uncomfortable in stillness. And so it really is, though, about taking 5 minutes. Even if it's not stillness, it's 5 minutes to put in one of those strategies. But I love the quote by Martin Luther, the philosopher. I'm going to read it so I don't mess it up because I always say it a little bit differently. I have so much to do that I shall spend the first 3 hours in prayer. And you're just like, oh, what? 3 hours? But we could for sure do 5 minutes, right? So that 5 minutes first just starts with, like, when I feel myself getting amped up, I set a timer, I grab something hot. Might be coffee, tea, could be just hot water. There's just something comforting in a hot mug of something. And I just sit. This doesn't have to be prayer time. It doesn't have to be meditation on scripture. It could be adult coloring, or it could be maybe you're putting together your oh crap stash. But whatever it is, you're just creating 5 minutes. And I really encourage people to set a timer and just do 5 minutes. But sometimes you're going to be like, is it 5 minutes yet? Did I set the timer? Like, oh my gosh, especially if you're trying to be still, it can feel really uncomfortable, but it is so amazing for your health and your thoughts and your faith, which are those pillars that we were talking about. But so the other really practical tip I want to give is cut off the strawberry tops, slice the cucumber, slice up some cheese. And then in that 5 minutes, or maybe even just 2, we've done it before where we've set a timer for 2 minutes and had a competition in the house. Like, how quickly can we just put a handful of stuff in baggies? Because guess what happens when you have a handful of strawberries with the tops chopped off in a baggie? You grab those as you're needing to grab a quick food and sit back down, or as you're flying out the door, instead of the crap food that we usually have already prepackaged, like a bag of chips or whatnot. So grab a bag, like a handful of almonds, grab a handful of chopped cheese, grab a handful of cucumbers, have them in baggies, and that will change so much more than people give it credit for. So what's easy to do is easy not to do. It's easy to say, I'm going to take 5 minutes. It's easy to say, oh my gosh, what a genius thing. Yeah, I let my strawberries go bad because I simply don't take time to chop the tops off. But when they're off, you eat them. So set a timer. That's what my big thing is set a timer to actually remind yourself to do these things.
That's great. That is such valuable information right there. Wow. So is there anything that you would like to add? Just anything?
I know we're talking to women here, and that's my jam. And I just want every woman to know that they can, that it doesn't matter how many different times you've tried. I'm moving my thing around, but it doesn't matter how many different times you've tried, that you can make this work, that you haven't failed before. Every time you've tried and either you just didn't stick to the plan, or you lost 50 pounds and then you gained 60 back, every single time you've put an effort in, you're learning from it. So like that whole failing forward thing, but don't give up and don't become resigned to like, oh, this just must be the weight I'm supposed to be at right now. If you don't feel your best inside and out, then don't say that, because we don't need to be resigned. We have an all-powerful, mighty King who wants us to live in abundance. And if we are worried and always hiding our belly as we walk in somewhere, or we want to cancel plans just because we don't like how we feel, that is not abundant life. No. So there are solutions, and I just want women to take them. And so my surprise, I told you I had a surprise, this is the very first podcast since the book came out, because I had to take a little pause that I've been on. And so I want to give away a copy of the book for free, a digital copy. And so all your listeners have to do is go to free.successwitherinmoore.com. And I know you'll put that in the notes.
We'll put it in the show notes.
But yeah, go grab your digital copy. If you are a paperback person like me, you want to write in it, you want to bend over the pages and keep all the things, there will be a link. I already gave that to Ginger, where you can go to Amazon and order your paperback. But yeah, I just don't want there to be any barrier to anyone to get that healthy dose of grace that's written all throughout the book, and to just break it down and keep healthy simple and make this really doable so that we can all live that abundant life that's promised.
That's so great. Thank you so much. So, where can one find you, Erin?
I am on Facebook more than anything. So if you're a Facebook girl like me, you can just go to Success with Erin Moore. I'm over there. I'm listed as Erin Moore. It's my personal profile. So you can find it both ways, but sometimes there's more than one Erin Moore, right? I married into a common name. You could check some things out on successwitherinmoore.com just to learn a little bit more. It's a very simple, basic website, but you can find all the things there. Or, you could email me too. I don't think I even gave that to you, Ginger, but you can always email me.
Definitely link it in the show notes too.
At Erin Moore at successwitherinmoore.com.
This has been such a great conversation, Erin. I'm just thrilled. And thank you so much for giving value and giving a digital copy. And such a great gift. Thank you so very much.
You are welcome.
And
And
thank
I
you.
was going to say, and thank you for having me. Like I said, I was really excited to be here. So, and I
That
love,
blessing. Such a
love the new name, by the way. Love that change.
yes. You know, grace is a gift. In Ephesians 2:8, it says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing. It is a gift of God."
Yeah.
And we're here to grace is the gift. So take it. It's been given to you. It's been given unto you. So this has been incredible. Thank you so much. And listen to our listeners out there. If you are looking for a support community, you know, we love and support so many in this group. It's a community, Successfully Radiant Women on Facebook. You know, also I want to remind you to please like, share, subscribe, download this podcast, leave us a 5-star review, because this is what helps other women to find us. And we want to be here forever. We want to keep bringing you grace. We want to keep bringing you gifts, because that's what we do here. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Midlife Grace. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Midlife Grace podcast. And until next time, bye for now.